Good day, duelists! Welcome back to yet another Yugioh deck profile. As you can see, our friend Rainbow Dragon has returned, although he's being accompanied by the original Crystal Beasts. We got Sapphire, Pegasus, and Ruby Carbuncle joining him here right on the field. And we're going to get into this deck profile, but first and foremost, just a disclaimer before we get into it. The deck profiles that are featured on this channel may or may not be up to date with the current meta, TCG and OCG respectively, ban list, etc. These decks are primarily built for fun and casual play, which is what I encourage above all other types of play styles in this game. So, that being said, without any further delay, we're going to go ahead and hop into the deck profile. We're going to be looking at the monsters, spells, traps, extra deck, and we will be doing a best of 3 playtest. Here we go. And one more quick thing before we hop into this deck profile. I will not be going over my card choices too in depth, although by the playtesting, you'll probably be able to see how the card ratios speak for themselves. So, that being said, we have our Crystal Keeper and Crystal Master, both cards that debuted in the not so long ago released structure deck for the Crystal Beast deck. Basically, long story short, Crystal Master is a searcher for your spells, monsters, etc., and trap cards as well. And your Crystal Keeper is a bit of protection in battle in case you need a quick doubling of attack points to maybe trim off some damage, or perhaps you're looking to swing over something and you want to get a quick little boost of attack points. But that being said, we're going to go ahead and move on here to the real stars of the show. We have one copy of each of the normal Crystal Beasts, except for maybe 2 or so, and we'll get into those in a minute. So we got Topaz Tiger, Cobalt Eagle, Amber Mammoth, Emerald Tortoise, and Amethyst Cat. So our first 2 of here, we have our 2 copies of Ruby Carbuncle, probably one of the most important pieces to the deck to get your Crystal Beasts out of the spell and trap card zone if you need them. That being said, we're going to follow up with 3 copies of Crystal Beasts, Sapphire, Pegasus. This guy is your main searcher majority of the time. He's going to be setting one of your Crystal Beasts in the spell and trap card zone, which in particular is very useful for one of the more recently released monsters that really kind of helped out the deck to get things moving faster. We have Crystal Beast, Rainbow Dragon, which as long as he's in your spell and trap card zone, you get the benefit of special summoning a Crystal Beast from the deck by banishing this guy, and he gets you a Rainbow Dragon from your deck to your hand. Very, very useful. That being said, that is all of the monsters. We're going to go ahead and get into the spells. We got 1 copy of Crystal Beacon and 1 copy of Crystal Release. Crystal Beacon special summons one of your Crystal Beasts, and Crystal Release can get you a quick attack point boost, but more importantly, I'd say, it can get you a Crystal Beast to your spell and trap card zone if it's sent to the graveyard. For our first 3 ofs, we got Rainbow Bridge, another important search card to get you a spell or trap card with Crystal in its name, followed up by 3 copies of Crystal Bond. It is another key search card in the deck, sets one of your Crystal Beasts in the spell and trap card zone, and then gets you another Crystal Beast to your hand. Now this particular card is arguably one of the most important spell cards in the deck, if not the most important. Long story short, this is a searcher. It gives you an additional normal summon. It can also bounce things off the field if you need to get that done. Followed up with the last 3 of and last couple spells in the deck, we have 3 copies of Awakening of the Crystal Ultimates. That being said, we're going to go ahead and move on to the traps here. We have 1 copy of Ultimate Crystal Magic. We have 2 copies of Crystal Miracle. And to finish it off, we have 2 copies of Crystal Conclave. So that is effectively the main deck. We're going to go ahead and move on to the extra deck. And here we are with the extra deck, short, sweet, to the point. Obviously, since this is a very pure version of the Crystal Beast deck. We're only really running Crystal Beast related extra deck support, which is of course our Rainbow Overdragon and our ultimate Crystal Rainbow Dragon Overdrive. Again, quite the name. But regardless, that is effectively it for the main deck and extra deck respectively. We're gonna go ahead and jump into our best of 3 playtest. And here we are, almost at the finish line. We have our deck here ready to be shuffled. We're gonna go ahead and shuffle live for you. So once again, this is a best out of 3. So we're gonna be doing some differences here. So to start, we're going to, for our first playtest, we're gonna pretend that we're going second. So we'll assume that our opponent probably has already summoned some monsters and whatnot to the field. Maybe they've got a couple set cards or what have you. But that being said, we're gonna go ahead and kick this off with our first 5 cards in hand. Let's see here. We've got, wow, interesting. So we've got our Sapphire Pegasus. We've got a Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon. We've got a Rainbow Dragon. We got a Crystal Bond and a Crystal Keeper. But since we are going second, we're gonna go ahead and see what we're rocking with here. We got a Ruby Carbuncle. Alrighty, so for this particular playtest here, we're actually going to go ahead and kind of play it out here so I can kind of show you a semi-tutorial on how I would probably play this particular hand. So, first and foremost, we're going to go ahead and activate Crystal Bond. Now, we're going to go ahead and search out our deck for 2 different Crystal Beasts, one of which we will go ahead and set in the spell and trap card zone, that being our Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon. And as for the Crystal Beast that we'll add to hand, we'll go ahead and add another Sapphire Pegasus. But Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon's not going to stick around. He's going to go ahead and banish himself so that we can special summon a Crystal Beast monster from our deck. We'll go ahead and grab Emerald Tortoise. And we'll get to add to our hand Rainbow Dragon. So now we've got both copies of our Rainbow Dragon. And now we're going to go ahead and normal summon our Sapphire Pegasus. His effect's going to activate. We're going to search our deck for a Crystal Beast monster to set in our spell and trap card zone. In this case, I suppose we'll go ahead and set another Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon. And that'll more or less end our turn. So, as you can see here, we maybe didn't get anything else to set, and we didn't really get anything else other than Crystal Bond to go into some searching besides Sapphire Pegasus. But the good news is that we do have our Crystal Keeper in hand, which could surprise our opponent in case they try to swing on our Pegasus, for example. So at least there we have a little something hidden in the wings in case we need it. But very, very simple turn, all things considered. The other benefit is that because we have our 3rd and final Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon in our hand, we could always special summon this during the battle phase, which may or may not be useful. Could even stop our opponent from getting a direct attack in if our Sapphire Pegasus and Emerald Tortoise, whichever you prefer, goes down. So that being said, that'll pretty much do it for our first play test here. Again, very, very simple hand here, but it'll be kind of interesting to see how we do on our next draw. So this time around, on round 2, we're going to go ahead and pretend that we're going first. So in this case, we will not be drawing a 6th card, and we'll just be dealing with whatever 5 cards we are holding right now. Oh yeah, this is interesting here. So we've got an Amber Mammoth, we've got an Emerald Tortoise, we've got our Crystal Master, Rainbow Bridge, and our Sapphire Pegasus. Now, let's go ahead and why not? Since the last one was pretty quick and easy, we're gonna go ahead and play this out a little bit. So first things first, what we would probably do is go ahead and normal summon our Crystal Master. By attributing it, which it would go to our extra deck, we could go ahead and search our deck for a Crystal Spell trap card. We could also search out an ultimate Crystal Beast monster or a normal Crystal Beast. In this case, the card that we're going to want to add to our hand is Rainbow Bridge of the Heart, because we're going to go ahead and activate it. Now, it'll come in handy in just a second, but before we go any further with that, we're going to go ahead and activate our Rainbow Bridge from hand. Activating our Rainbow Bridge, we're going to go ahead and search out a crystal, spell, or trap card. The particular one that we're going to want to grab here is our Crystal Bond, and we're going to go ahead and activate it. So once again, we are going to search through our deck here. We're going to grab 2 different Crystal Beast monsters, which are going to be just like last time. We're going to grab these 2 again. The difference being, though, that after we go ahead and set our Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon and banishing him, we're going to special summon our Sapphire Pegasus, because after we add our copy of Rainbow Dragon, we're going to use Rainbow Bridge of the Heart, popping our Sapphire Pegasus, which will set him in the spell and trap card zone, and now we can add another crystal card from our deck. In this case, what might be interesting is we're going to go ahead and add Crystal Beacon. There's a reason for that, but before we do anything with that, we still have an additional normal summon thanks to Rainbow Bridge of the Heart. So, taking advantage of that, we're going to go ahead and normal summon another Sapphire Pegasus. Although, compared to the Sapphire Pegasus we popped a moment ago, this one will actually be able to get his effect off. So we can go ahead and set a Crystal Beast monster in our spell and trap card zone. So, the question is, which one are we going to set? Well, I've got one in mind. We just so happen to have another Sapphire Pegasus in our hand, so we're going to go ahead and set it. Finally, we're going to activate our Crystal Beacon. We're going to go ahead and search out our deck for a Crystal Beast monster to special summon. We're going to choose Ruby Carbuncle and use its effect. Once it's been special summoned to the field, it can special summon all of our Crystal Beast monsters that are in our spell and trap card zone. So now we've got 2 more Crystal Beast Sapphire Pegasus out on the field, and both of their effects will activate since it's not a hard once per turn. And we're going to go ahead and set some more Crystal Beast monsters directly from our deck to the field. So we're going to go ahead and set Amethyst Cat and Topaz Tiger. And with this being our remaining hand, that'll pretty much do it for this play test. There you go. I would say, compared to the previous hand that we had drawn into to start, even with our additional 6th card, I'd say that this is objectively a better hand. You managed to swarm the field with this particular hand with 4 monsters to protect yourself. You also have the benefit of Rainbow Bridge of the Heart, which will activate if our opponent manages to knock out any of our Crystal Beast monsters on the field, which will bounce itself and whatever card on our opponent's field that we need back to the hand. So, all in all, pretty solid start to get a lot of our Crystal Beast monsters set up. And thanks to our Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon that we banished earlier, we would have been able to get into our Rainbow Dragon probably pretty quick and in a hurry. So we're going to go ahead and shuffle our deck here. Do a nice solid job here because we're on our 3rd and final. Somebody's riding fast. Card games on motorcycles. You already know the deal. Alrighty, so for our last play test here, we're going to go ahead and start off with our 5 cards. And oh baby. We're starting off with Crystal Bond, Crystal Beacon, Awakening of the Crystal Ultimates, Rainbow Dragon, and Crystal Conclave. And since we will be going second this time, we're going to go ahead and draw into, wow, a Rainbow Bridge. So, I can tell you right now, this is a phenomenal hand from this deck, which is, well, it's just better that I show you why. So, To go ahead and kick things off, we're going to activate our Crystal Bond. We're going to search our deck. Yep, that's right. We're going to play this hand out. I think it's 100% worth it because just comparing and contrasting the different hands that we've managed to get throughout these play tests, I'd say this one's definitely worth playing out too. So we've got our Crystal Beast, Rainbow Dragon. We've got our Sapphire Pegasus added to hand. As you can see, that's pretty normal. That's a pretty typical move for me to make. We're going to go ahead and banish our Crystal Beast Rainbow Dragon so that we can special summon a Crystal Beast monster from our deck, that being a copy of Sapphire Pegasus. And we're going to add another Rainbow Dragon from our deck to our hand. But we are far from finished. Thanks to having a Rainbow Dragon in hand, we can go ahead and right away activate our Awakening of the Crystal Ultimates, revealing the Rainbow Dragon to our opponent and searching out a Rainbow Bridge card from our deck to our hand. And what better to use here than Rainbow Bridge of the Heart? Activating it right away, we can go ahead and pop our Sapphire Pegasus, and now we can search out yet another crystal card. The question is, which one to grab? Well, in this case, I would say the ideal card to grab here will actually be Crystal Release, and you'll see why momentarily. So now that we've done that, we do in fact have some normal summoning to do. We haven't even gotten into that. But before that, we also have a Rainbow Bridge, the good old normal old-fashioned Rainbow Bridge. We're going to go ahead and activate it and add one other card from our deck to our hand. In this case, I think we're going to go ahead and add a Crystal Miracle for some protection once we are done with our turn here. We'll get there in just a moment. First, we're going to go ahead and summon Sapphire Pegasus. Using his effect, we're going to search our deck and we're going to pull out and set in our Spell and Trap card zone our final copy of Sapphire Pegasus. Now, why are we doing that? Well, if you paid attention to the last playtest, we happen to have just the card we need to pull off some interesting things here. We have a copy of Crystal Beacon, which will activate. We're going to go ahead and search our deck and special summon one very, very special little friend of ours, Ruby Carbuncle, and bring it to the field. Now its effect activates, and we're going to go ahead and special summon both copies of our Crystal Beast Sapphire Pegasus that are already in our Spell and Trap card zone, activating both of their effects simultaneously. We'll go ahead and set two Crystal Beast monsters directly from the deck to our Spell and Trap card zones. And as you can see, we have 3 Spell and Trap card zones used up right here. But we're not quite done yet. We're going to go ahead and activate our Crystal Release, equipping it to one of our Sapphire Pegasus. And to top it off, we'll go ahead and activate, or rather set, I should say, our Crystal Conclave. And don't forget, we do have our Crystal Miracle in hand, which might come in handy later, but that will effectively do it for this final playtest. Our ending hand being 2 Rainbow Dragons, both of which we'll probably be able to take advantage of in a later turn. But that being said, that's effectively it for the deck profile. Wow. So just like the previous deck profile, which was in fact the advanced Crystal Beast deck profile, which I would highly recommend checking out if you're interested in seeing how that one differs from this one. Well, this deck is quite fun just like the other. They do have some differences, but they also have a lot of similarities in how they play and how they manage to typically, if you get the right hand, which is going to be more often than not, get to swarm the field with all of your Crystal Beast monsters to get some defenses going, get some stuff set up in your Spell and Trap card zone, and get one step closer to summoning your key monster, your boss monster of the deck, Rainbow Dragon. So, that'll do it for Jesse Anderson's Crystal Beast deck profile. I will also throw this in there in case you happen to be interested in building this deck for yourself. It's very, very simple to put together now thanks to the recent Crystal Beast structure deck. You could probably grab it for a pretty decent price nowadays. It's very common. You can probably pick it up for yourself. And you can probably build this particular deck build pretty easily with all 3 copies. You're going to need 3. In case you're new, you're going to probably want to grab 3 so that you can get all the play sets you need for each monster that's key to playing this deck. Other than that, thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. I hope you guys enjoyed, maybe learned something new, maybe got some ideas and inspiration for your own deck profiles. And other than that, that being said, stay safe, take care. Have a gosh darn good one, and until the next time, I end my turn.